All right, man. Let's talk football. Oh, by the way, Blake, you sent me this. Actually, let's bring on Landry Locker first.
Yeah.
Landry is
Have
in Houston, covering Super Wild Card Weekend for us in Houston.
Still alive. Live to
Still
fight
alive.
another Saturday early window.
Yeah, what's the deal?
They've only lost that twice. They've played in it every time they've been in that round, and they've only lost in it twice. It's kind of their thing.
Have the Texans ever played a Sunday playoff game?
They've played a Sunday playoff game, but not in wild card round. Wild card round, it's been 3:30 at noon, literally every time in the entire history of the franchise. Seriously, like there's been no other. So it is a tradition like no other. I actually like it from like a perspective of covering the squad because you kind of just get to relax after. There's nothing in between. But yeah, it is a tradition like no other. Not being relevant, not going to any conference championships will do that to you.
Our buddy Jimmy Football sent us the betonline.ag odds for the Cowboys' next head coach. Get me the top 5. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You guys want to guess?
Of
the names we were throwing out.
I'm looking at Bovada's, so I have
Okay.
a reference point, but I do want to play this game, especially with Landry here.
I will tell you this. They sent like a list of top 20 or so. Not on the list, Jason Witten.
He's not on Bovada's either.
That's good. That's a good sign right there, right? We're good with that.
Look, we don't know. I mean, we're trying to play the game of like who would they hire, who would be exciting for us. Really, none of the options that I think are actual possibilities. None of them I'm excited about. Like I don't want Witten, but I think it'd be fun. Because let's do this one on your list, Dan, of top 5. BetOnline AG. Where's Prime?
2.
Because Bovada has him at number 1, even odds.
Even.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Number 1 on this list is Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore not even on here. So what does that tell you? Because Kellen Moore is he should definitely be considered.
What about Kingsbury?
Number 3 on my list.
Okay. What about Nick Saban?
He is on my list, but he's way down there.
What about Belichick? Is Belichick still alive? He has been known to flake.
He's 6th on my list, along with Ben Johnson at 10-1 odds. It goes Kellen Moore, Dion, Cliff, Joe Brady.
Joe Brady number 2 on this list.
Lincoln Riley.
Whoa.
Ben Johnson, Belichick, Brian Flores, Lane Kiffin, Liam Cohen, Bobby Slowick.
I was gonna say
Landry.
Bobby Slowick. Bovada has him.
I'll pay for the limo if y'all want that. I'll pay for the Uber. I'll put him in a hotel for his interview. I don't think you want that.
Aaron Glenn way down below Nick Saban because we were talking to Aaron Glenn before. But one name that is on here that I didn't think about, but I don't think we can rule out. At 22-1, John Gruden.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Wouldn't be the worst thing. But with there's a lot of that. That's not like the best PR mix. Like,
Yeah.
If you want to get the second chance, I don't know that him and Jerry are like the best like mix together.
But who supports giving second chances more
It's very true.
than the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, Slowick is on mine at 4th. Matt Nagy at 5. That actually somewhat tracks.
Oh, my God.
He just was a coach, right?
Yeah.
And then number 6 here, to let you know how serious Bovada's taking this, at plus 2,800, we have Tony Romo himself.
Oh, wow.
That'd be great.
He's on
See,
this
Mike,
list.
I have a guy that I think they should hire. That I've been carrying this flag now for about 9 years. I actually wanted the Texans to hire him 3 years ago. I think Josh McCown is destined to be a head coach. I think it's early, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to get top tier. But if I were making a hire, I would hire Josh McCown. And it's a unique resume. It's unique experience. It's not traditional, but you're talking about a guy that played on 12 teams in the NFL, and he was a backup quarterback, which is basically an extra coach. Philadelphia thought enough of him to where Doug Peterson actually let him call plays during preseason. I think 2020 kind of caught up to him, so he stepped away and started his career a little bit later because there was all the Bieniemy stuff, and he got like 3 interviews with the Texans. He's a Texas guy. He's a backup quarterback. He's doing a hell of a job with Sam Darnold. He's eventually going to be a head coach, but no one has experience like that. And everyone says, can you deal with Jerry Jones? This guy's been in 14, 15 NFL buildings. Like it's actually like nobody has a experience or resume dealing in as many buildings as that with as many quarterbacks. So if I were hiring somebody, I would hire Josh McCown. It's inevitably going to happen. It might be a little bit soon, but that would be who I would go with. Way outside the box, though.
I don't hate that at all. I think that tracks as like a really good offensive mind. And we also know that he once filmed the PSA against internet porn.
Yes, he did. And it was very emotional.
It was extremely emotional. And
he also has a very underrated pickup basketball highlight tape, which it's very high up on my scale of what I value. But I think it's going to happen eventually. It might be too early, but the Cowboys, it's not. I think David Hellman or someone said that it's still a top 3 job. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think Ben Johnson's going to be foaming out the mouth to go up to Dallas. So you got to be able to work with Dak Prescott. This guy has worked with quarterbacks a lot. I know that Kevin O'Connell's the guy in Minnesota. Josh McCown is right there in Sam Darnold's ear the whole time. It's not like he's just like some quarterback coach walking around. He's right there, like talking to him the whole time. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I would hire Josh McCown.
Another name we haven't mentioned, but I could see Jerry thinking of it, is Pete Carroll.
Whew.
Hasn't he kind of thrown his name out there recently? Like
he interviewed with the Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't hate McCown at all. I mean, it doesn't get the people going like Jerry would, and maybe not top 3, but I'd still say this is top 5, 6. I don't know. People who grew up and all the coaches are our age or older, and they still think of winning with the Cowboys as a really big deal. So Pittsburgh, Green Bay. I mean, I guess you could say Kansas City if you're factoring in just circumstance, but what's better?
Yeah. Kingsbury, though, is interesting, too, because you're kind of taking him away from Daniels. And I don't know, that might not mean much, but I know people look at him as being a head coach before as kind of like a scarlet letter, but, I mean, he's battle-tested. He's a battle-tested guy, and you're not only bringing him in, he also likes attention, and I think he can deal with crap. Like, that's another thing that you have to do. Like, he likes attention. He can deal with crap. He can work with offenses, and you're taking him away from basically the toast of the NFL right now and the toast of the division.
I think he would fit perfectly here because he's going to stay hands off the defense, and I'd love the front office to handle that, and he'll just do his offensive thing and kind of be the guy walking around, being all Cliffy, and
give me Cliff and Salah and let's go.
I mean,
Cliff Kingsbury would be the perfect dumb zone guest, by the way. Like the Cliff Kingsbury Weekly would be elite.
Yeah, if we could get that done.
Yeah, we've had him in studio in the past, a long time ago.
Good dude.
Power rank who y'all would want based on guests, and let's just throw Dion to the side.
Dion.
Like if I said y'all were getting a weekly with a head coach, what would y'all's top 3 be? Just
Belichick.
For Dan, it's Belichick. Obviously, Rex Ryan.
Dan Campbell. Okay, Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan would be number 1 if we're throwing Dion out.
John Gruden.
John Gruden would be 2.
Ooh, that'd be sick.
And Cliff,
certainly Cliff.
Cliff would be that next part.
How about Nick Saban? Alabama Jones.
Alabama Jones.
He's on the list here. Way down.
This is fun.
Way down the list. It is kind of fun. So, I don't think every game was a blowout. Philly was pretty close throughout. I think that's a deceiving final score.
It is and it isn't. It was close-ish, but it definitely felt you could feel how much better Philadelphia, just from a talent standpoint, is than Green Bay, especially Green Bay banged up.
I don't think Jordan Love's 3 interceptions are getting as much attention as Justin Herbert's 3 interceptions.
4.
4 interceptions. Sorry.
Yeah, 4.
As he had 3 interceptions all year, right?
Yeah, 3 and then 4 in the game. Yeah,
And then 4 in the game.
That's a tough one for me.
Yeah, tough one for you from Friday, talking about how great he was.
Yeah, I said, hey, this guy, on any given day could be the best quarterback in the league, and I still believe that.
It's true.
But that's the biggest game of his career, and to come out and play the worst game of your career, the Texans deserve credit because they were all over them.
No, they deserve a lot of credit, and I think. Well, you tell us, Landry. To me, it's one of the biggest surprises of the weekend is that game. Just that Houston kind of would you say underperformed all year at least to our early expectations?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they're definitely a defensive team. I will say that Justin Herbert is kind of quarterback that DeMeco Ryans can make look stupid. Josh Allen had the lowest passer rating of his career early in the season. They were kind of banged up at receiver. But this is actually the first time that the Texans front 7 has been healthy all year. They didn't have linebacker Christian Harris. He didn't play a lot. Azeez Al-Shire was suspended. And now they have like 5 or 6 guys they can just rotate. So they made him very uncomfortable. The result that happened, I think, is the most surprising, but it was kind of one of those games where I could have seen it going either way. But I definitely didn't anticipate the Chargers getting roughed up as much as they did. But the Texans do have a superpower at the front 7, which if you're going to make a run, whether it's the Jets with Rex Ryan or the Jags in 2017 with like a flawed offense, which the Texans have, that's really the recipe is get after the quarterback, and they did that.
Yeah. Any if you can get a quarterback under severe pressure, we've talked about it for a long time. That is the way to do things. Boys, I look across the whole weekend.
Yeah, boy, he was. If you look at 37 dropbacks, he had 19 under pressure and 18 kept clean.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, are they going to be allowed to do that to Mahomes? I was talking about this today on the TV station. Hey.
You might be talking about it again on a TV station. This could be on DZ tonight.
Whoa.
Well, it should be. Yeah. It should be.
Channel 27. Tune in, folks.
This belongs like after 10 p.m. like on some channel. Like this just screams that. But I don't think you're going to be able to rough up Mahomes the way you rough up Herbert. And I'm not trying to be like the referee guy. Like I think the way in which they were abusing him, and there were a couple times where they slammed him to the turf. I think they'll find some way to throw a flag.
Oh, here we go
on Mahomes. No, I'm serious. Like I'm just like that's just kind of the package of playing against the Chiefs. I think the craziest thing about the Chiefs that I think is interesting is I don't think they've peaked. Like I don't think they've peaked despite the fact they've lost one game. Like they haven't had Hollywood Brown all season long. I'm taking the over on his yardage no matter what the number is. I haven't even seen it drop yet. Whatever it is, I'm taking the over. They haven't had a healthy Pacheco. Travis Kelce's kind of been banged up. They just got DeAndre Hopkins in the middle of the season. And then they have Xavier Worthy. Like the Chiefs have not even like offensively, I don't even think they began to peak. And that's going to be the scary thing is you're talking about a team that we thought had no skill position guys early in the season and they're fully healthy. Like they're fully healthy. And I think it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, and I think, well, this is a very, this is not like a X's and O's thing, but this feels like one of the first times where I really feel like America will actually be rooting for the Texans. Do you guys sense Chiefs hate out there in general?
Yeah.
It's just inevitable.
Chiefs fatigue,
but I don't know that America will be rooting for the Texans to beat them. I think we want to see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game against what
Ravens
you could
Bills.
Maybe argue is the Super Bowl is like next weekend anyway.
Yeah,
with the Bills.
I don't feel Chiefs hate as much as I do like Cowboys hate when they were good, or even Patriots hate. And I guess it was a longer time, but I just don't. are they really that hateable?
They're not in your face. I love them.
You get a
but
little-
you get the T Swift
Yeah,
angle in
Kelsey's.
there.
Jackson Mahomes.
Brittany Mahomes. There's
Chiefsaholic. Did y'all watch the Chiefsaholic doc?
Dude, I did. We didn't talk about it on the show because
Dan, this is right up your alley. This is one of the best docs that they've had in a while.
it
Where's
is
that?
good, but I think it's just called Chiefsaholic.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
awesome.
where?
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incredible. It is nuts.
We followed the story pretty closely as it was happening, so I didn't learn a ton, but it is worth it. Just the
But
world.
we did get to follow him post bail. That was the crazy thing, and we learned about his gambling problem. How he's basically like stacking up 150K on bets.
Yeah. Rob a bank, go to the game, bet on the next game. And the funniest part is when he's out on bond, they're watching the Super Bowl with him, and he wins like $200,000 with an ankle monitor on.
And then he cuts, and
he's like,
then
"I
that's
won.
when he runs. They're
Cut
like,
this off."
He's a threat to run because he might win these bets. And the crazy thing is, he has all these fans still that are still like supporting him just because of his internet. It's a good one. It is a really good one.
See, yeah, I don't know how America would be the three-peat thing. Never been done. Could be the Chiefs, first time to do it. This could be that could be something fun to root for. Lamar, I think that could be something fun to root for. As could he finally win the big one? All that kind of stuff.
Buffalo in general, I feel like people love.
Fun to root for
Yeah.
because of Buffalo, and they're Buffalo, and they got to the Super Bowl so often in the past, 4 years in a row, and now could they do that?
Yeah, maybe the Texans
Obviously-
thing was a bad point.
Obviously, Dan Campbell, that'd be fun to root for.
Oh yeah, if you're talking NFC, I could see.
Detroit. No, yeah. So the AFC is loaded, obviously, but as far as fun stories to root for going forward.
Who are y'all rooting for? I root for Lamar. I've never seen the goalpost moved so much on someone from like the levels of hate for Lamar. I just want him to win a Super Bowl, like really, really badly. But
Well, he's got to get the title game first.
well, see, there it is, right there.
Exactly.
You probably wanted to move him to
him.
wide receiver
Yeah.
before the
No,
game.
I
Maybe a
just,
slot.
let's hand him every MVP we can, but yet he can't win a playoff game.
Okay, they haven't even been
no one
to
was
the.
complaining about Peyton Manning when he was winning MVPs and couldn't get it done. There's different energy with Lamar Jackson for whatever reason.
Huh.
He can't be a quarterback. Then he can't win in the regular season. Then he can't. It's a system. Then he wins in another system, and now all of a sudden he's just getting this treatment.
I don't
You're part
know
of the
that.
problem, Mike.
I don't know. You should play the race card on Lamar. I do remember
I'm not
that
playing
about
the race card.
I
I'm not
remember
playing
that
the
about Peyton Manning. I remember he can't win the big one. Anytime even when he was here and they were 10-0, playing the Cowboys when Parcells was a coach, he lost like Thanksgiving Day or something like that, and it was like, see, big game, big nationally televised game. Peyton Manning will fold. That's when 1920s reporter guy talked to him.
I don't think it's as much race. I think it's just dug in. Quarterbacks make idiots of us all. Like I don't think any position has made us look as foolish. Like I don't know that people thought that Jaden Daniels was going to be this, but it just does seem like Lamar. Like the bar just maybe it's just he's hiring the expectations of him, and I'm just a little bit defensive about him. I just find myself rooting for him.
I don't know if Jaden Daniels will be in the league in 5 years.
You're just falling back on the RG3
Yeah,
thing. It's
just
not crazy.
Dude, his
He
body.
can't protect himself.
Yeah, he doesn't protect himself, and his body type. He's just small.
Yeah, it's true, which makes the fact that 94 in red last night got stiff-armed in the
Yeah.
backfield on the play of the game by a guy who looks like me at the free throw line getting called Kermit or pipe cleaners when I was in 10th grade. Like, you don't want to get stiff-armed by a guy that you're like, I don't know if you'll be in the league in 5 years. You're so small.
Yeah.
But I did see a tweet yesterday that that kind of touches on what you guys are talking about. It was somebody just said something to the effect of, here it is. The NFL playoffs are a great reminder that there are really only like 5 good quarterbacks at any given time in the NFL, and there is an entire media industrial complex dedicated to making you think otherwise, selling you hope.
It's a fact because the debate you were talking about Herbert, like the debate, and I naturally just pushed back was, well, if CJ beats Justin Herbert, this was just kind of just something that someone brought up. Then he's a top 5 quarterback in the AFC, and I was like, huh? I don't know about that. And then you look at the quarterbacks in the AFC, and you're like, I mean, I guess that they're battling out for that 5th spot. It's kind of fascinating. The NFC is even crazier, like
Who is the best?
right now in the NFC.
Yeah,
I guess it's Goff, right? Is it Goff? Daniels is playing as good as anyone.
Is it Goff? Is it Daniels? Is it Stafford? Is it Hurts? Like, they're all just pretty good, but all capable of having really bad days. Like, in a way that you didn't see, Brady or Manning at their peak. The best in the NFL didn't have games like what you see from Jalen Hurts every now and then.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Baker, honestly, up until last night, I could have said Baker.
Yeah.
And even last night for most of the game.
Lamar Jackson, though, is a very interesting study because he obviously was a free agent, now restricted, correct? You would have had to offer a couple of first-round picks and the biggest contract ever and all that kind of stuff. But quarterback being what it is, where a ton of teams were trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. So you think the Browns gave up a ton to get him, and the capper is the guaranteed contract. No other team was willing to do that. But, it could very easily be Atlanta that had given up 3 first-rounders and plus some and then signed him to, like, a deal that was almost as big. But he ended up going to Cleveland. Did you see the news on him, too? Supposedly re-injured himself while rehabbing, and, that's just a...
Everything I see related to that story, I figure there are 2 to 3 ulterior motives here.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to come back.
They don't want him back.
They want him back.
Basically, they have a team of lawyers on each side sitting in a room
trying to figure out
how
to
do we do this?
Yeah, how do we make everybody look okay in this kind of...
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson, I think, is unbelievable. Like, his body type is much different.
Until you see him right after a Jaden Daniels highlight, I feel like you don't really get it. Lamar's a thick MFer.
Right. And then Derrick Henry, who was a free agent this offseason. Now, had the Cowboys signed him, and they really could have easily, 2 years, $8 million a year. That's what he got. And he's unbelievable. Do they do the innovative stuff that you see Baltimore doing? Do they direct snap to him and put Dak out wide, which is something I saw over the weekend?
No.
And then Derrick Henry all of a sudden takes that for 30 yards. He's unbelievable. He's still unbelievable.
No, he is. He's a home run. But even if they had just hit a double, I mean, Mixon had over 100 yards and almost 5 yards a carry on Saturday. He was available. Got a little less than Henry, and it's not like he had a good year. If Joe Mixon were on the Cowboys this year, their season with Rico would have looked very different.
Yes, Rico as a backup, or as a compliment. Yeah,
mix him up.
Yeah, the Derrick Henry thing's interesting because he's a physical freak, and he also has the threat of the best running quarterback of all time there. So I don't even know what you really do in the situation if you're trying to stop Derrick Henry. It's kind of amazing that the Cowboys didn't at least get in on this market. I think the only team that won this weekend that didn't delve into this favorable running back market was Buffalo, and they already have James Cook. And they even drafted another running back. But every team that won this week, and it was a large part of the reason outside of Washington. Eckler wasn't like a huge part of what they did during the season. He was kind of banged up, but they got him. But every single one of these teams, this favorable running back market, the polarizing running back market, they all got into it to the point where
it really is. Yeah.
If Saquon's not at Philadelphia, we're sitting here talking about how Jalen Hurts is, man, what a bad contract that is. That's terrible. And they got Saquon, and he's arguably the MVP of the league. But everybody, even good teams, like the really, really good teams, they partook in that running back market, which I think it kind of says something.
Man, I think you got to throw Eckler in there. I mean, he was hurt, but he was very important last night.
Yeah,
through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, he was immediately a big part of stuff. So it's interesting, and the scary thing from Jerry's perspective is, is he now going to overdo it? In a buyer's market, running back, is he now going to overdo it? Are we talking about signing someone and bringing in Gentry and just trying to have the best running back group of all time? Because I don't think you're ever going to find as favorable of a running back market as that was. That was insane. And you have Derrick Henry right there working out, pulling sleds or whatever the hell he pulls, houses in Dallas.
Yes,
Same
much
agent. Same
they're
agent
at
as
the
Dak.
they're always behind the pack. So yes, your prediction is a good one.
Well, they got Zeke.
They did get Zeke, and he looks better than he has in years.
We talked about this yesterday on the stream, but really, really funny that the Chargers signed him and then didn't make him active for the game.
Yeah, because then they saw,
They got close.
like, hey, that film was right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Are y'all ready for Zeke to retire as a Cowboy? It's gonna be
Oh,
Mark.
my.
Like
The one day.
Oh, he's got to do it one day.
That is fantastic. Yeah.
there's been nobody who has gotten more favors from Jerry in their entire life than Zeke, from paying him probably at the wrong time, drafting him early back
Maybe that Alex Davis girl, Alexander Davis, the
yeah,
daughter.
well.
But other than that,
He got a little something.
yeah. No, you're right. And it's crazy. We talk about this all the time. I mean, we do hear from guys that play there that he's a good teammate or that they like playing with him. But you can't constantly say, like, this guy's the hard, or they don't say hardest worker, but they say a consummate professional, all he cares about is winning, and then be late so much that McCarthy's like, dude, I've got to suspend you for a game. You think McCarthy wants to do that? Of course
And then
not.
not even make him gut it out. He should have gotten 30 carries in the final game of the season. Like I'm giving him the ball 50 times.
Yeah,
like,
make your son smoke the whole pack.
yeah, he's
Instead, they're
going
like,
he's going
"Go to
50,
San
50
Diego."
carries
Yeah.
just the whole time in that game. And you let him get out of the situation when it gets bad. Jerry loves Zeke. It's gonna be a big ceremony.
Boy, he's
He
right.
might end up in the Ring of Honor while we're talking.
He might.
No way.
Dude.
Hey, did you think they'd bring him back this year?
His numbers are pretty impressive. Okay, notes I wanted to just make just from throughout the playoffs. The game you were at or watching, Dicker the kicker, that the blocked extra point that he thought was a pass attempt.
Did he bat it down?
Yeah, he
that was
ran,
funny.
batted it down, and batted it right down to a player who could just run it back for 2 points. Pittsburgh losing its sixth straight postseason game. So obviously, if that was here, you'd be yelling for Mike Tomlin to be fired.
Yeah, that's my idea.
Are they
Landry is just
are they thinking of
betrayed.
that, or is it the fact
Tomlin?
that they haven't really had a good quarterback in some time, but they keep making the playoffs in the very tough competitive AFC? I think you got to give him that, and just imagine if they actually did have a quarterback. Could you imagine if they would have been in on signing Lamar Jackson when he was a free agent?
I think you give them that, but I think organizationally it's kind of stinks. It's the mediocre treadmill that Mark Cuban used to talk about, where it's almost better to kind of bottom out. Like from a coaching standpoint, he deserves credit, but from an organizational standpoint, you're never drafting that high. Your ceiling's limited, but your floor is a little bit higher. It's kind of an interesting spot to be in with him, because his teams do fight their ass off, but they're never bad enough to where it's like, how do we get this quarterback? How are we going to figure it out? They're kind of in no man's land.
The shine really got off them as this year went on, though, and their schedule got tougher. They were extremely exposed.
Yeah, they tried it with Pickett, right? That was like the best.
Yeah. That was
really the only shot they've taken.
A.J. Brown on the sideline reading a book.
Yeah, so I've seen he showed somebody the book, right? Inner Excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that he was upset at a lack of targets and he needs to read some inspirational passages?
I mean, he says no, but
well, first of all, just having a book on the sideline. I mean, it's a very wide receiver thing.
oh my god, absolutely.
It's very C team middle school, like kid who doesn't play.
You might expect. Yeah. You might expect, hey, give me one of those tablets so I can see what the defense is doing here.
Maybe how can I get open?
No, it's
no, but
so I can
it's
get
either
my mental right.
There's two takes on it. One is Landry's C team, that makes sense, but the wide receiver thing, it's like it's look at me, right? It's Gordon reading that book at the NBA Finals. Gordon read that book 100 times. Gordon's reading that book, so you'll say Gordon's reading that book.
Yeah,
which is the same thing A.J. Brown was doing. It's very LeBron.
LeBron, Malcolm X, he still hadn't gotten past page 1.
Page 1, page 2.
You know that the camera's going to be on me.
And they'll come look at you. They'll come ask you what it was about. You can show them the book. And it's like, I get it. If words mean something to you in the moment. Yeah, you're very smart. It's highlighted.
Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Zane Gonzalez, we were all talking about this while doing the stream last night. So he kicks that game winner, doinked it. Man, so close.
And I mean,
I've never seen someone look more nervous, by the way.
So we've got that. I don't think you'll be able to see it, Landry. But Danny believes he'll be able to play this for us back
His hair.
So it starts with the hair. This is right before the game-winning field goal. You can play it whenever, Danny, and I'll just vamp until you get it. Okay, so yeah, we have him here. This is his shoes, actually. This is him messing with his shoes pregame. He takes off his socks and puts them back on probably 7 times. Shoe off, shoe back on, straighten out the sock. Like, if you have a little bump in your sock.
Sure, yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, that's a little bit weird. I'll just live with it.
Yeah.
But for him, no. That is insane levels of OCD. And I think they showed this after the fact. Like, oh, we had this in the can. We didn't know we'd need it. But they did need it after we saw him doing his hair thing on the sideline. So that was the other video, and it's just we don't have to. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, it's like, oh,
as he's walking onto the field,
right?
He is just.
He barely has any hair.
Yeah,
right?
He's got Garrett level length hair.
Yeah, he's like, move it over. Helmet barely on.
But then
he's different kickers. The 6th is
here, Landry, so you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just keeps brushing his hair. As if he has really long hair, he's got to keep it out of his eyes, but he doesn't. But he did it about 7-8 times and then went in and, yes, barely made that field goal.
Yeah, I mean, to me it looks like, and I guess maybe he actually does have some level of OCD. That or he's on cocaine. Because that's the only time I've ever seen anybody acting like that.
They kind of justified them not kicking field goals. I was getting a little bit frustrated with them on 4th and 2, just not kicking field goals. It might have kind of justified it. Do y'all remember the Rangers pitcher? This was at Arlington Stadium. This was a long ass time ago. Named Todd Burns. Do y'all remember him?
I remember the name.
So he used to like grab his head like on the back end of his career. It just throughout pitching he would be doing that. That kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, Joey Gallo had a little bit of that, right? Which he got mad at me for mentioning, but apparently,
what did he say? What did he do?
I was just like, hey, well, the telling of it that's been captured by history is that I was like, hey, Joey Gallo, what's wrong with your weird, stupid face?
Yeah, you make weird faces. What's up with that?
And he was like, actually, I have a condition. And it was very awkward. But no, I mean, I was like, hey, are you aware that you get memed a lot, for some of your facial expressions?
Hate to see you interview Muhammad Ali on the back end. Good Lord, Jake.
Sit down here with the star of Back to Our Future. What's going on with you? Or Back to Our Future, Back to the Future. You got something weird.
So did Gallo did he kind of flex on you? He's kind of a meathead, isn't he?
He's a super cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, but he's a cool meathead.
He bowed up a little bit.
He enjoyed putting Jake in that trap.
Yeah. But hey, look.
It happens.
The Commanders move on.
Do y'all find yourself rooting against the Commanders? Like,
no.
I can feel the Eagles hate the Commanders. It's a hard team to not like.
No, they got new ownership.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're not.
Dan.
TQ, Cliff.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback.
I mean, I was rooting against them last night because you got to root for Baker, but that's part of the Baker thing. Nobody roots for Baker. He's up against the whole world.
8.5 dogs on the road indeed.
Do. I did see this. Oh, what is it?
8.5, which is even bigger than Texans Chiefs.
I bet that's going to go up too.
What's Texans Chiefs?
7.5 right now.
Yeah, it went down. Started at 8, 7.5. Something weird's going on there. I would take the Chiefs. I mean, I'll be honest, but something weird's going on there.
I saw this note too. As far as the Cowboys, we don't want to pay for this because that's going to hurt you in the future. Like they've got all kinds of excuses why they do or don't do things.
Sure.
There were 9 teams that had over $60 million in dead cap money this year. 6 of them made the playoffs.
But I thought it was like an automatic you're out. Like you can't. There's a rule state you can't be in if you have over 50. No?
Broncos $85 million.
Why?
I mean, I don't think that's good.
Russell
but also,
Oh my goodness.
the Russell Wilson contract.
Yeah.
Vikings, Bills, Packers, Eagles, and Tampa all had over $60 million in dead money.
All the good NFC teams.
Yeah.
So they are spending cash over cap to build better rosters. And maybe if you are hoping that the Cowboys follow the lead of others, which they do at certain times, maybe that will make the Cowboys realize they should do that. But unlikely. So.
Well, I would root for the Texans going forward, Landry, but I have a friend on the other team.
Oh, look at this.
So,
Who's your friend? Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
Yeah, okay. There you go. You could have said I'm a Mahomes guy. That was just
they filmed a commercial
I was in a
together.
commercial
I
with him.
saw it. It was damn good. Good grab.
He's
Good
caught
grab.
a
Kind of
caught
could
a
have stayed
pass.
on your feet, I thought, but
He
it
definitely
happens.
could have.
That's the problem with
Hold it.
bringing that up
Hold it.
is it's the coolest thing that ever happened to me, and it's tied in with a very embarrassing thing that Blake will never forget, and apparently Landry either. So
Kind of looked like Smalls from Sandlot catching that first one, man. Honestly, if we're being honest, like it looked a lot like the football version of Smalls from Sandlot. If we're being completely honest.
And Landry, he has the gall to blame it on shoes because his shoes were too big.
Hey, did you guys know Landry's appearance today is brought to you by Fairlease? What's that website again? Real quick?
Fairlease.org.
Okay, Fairlease.org.
We go to the locker room
Don't you want
by
to?
Fairlease.org.
Don't you want them to like say that the Dumb Zone brought you there, something like that?
Yes. If you click on the
There's like
website,
there's a
Fairlease.org,
drop-down.
get request a
Drop-down
quote,
thing, yeah.
and you will see
You should always make
the
sure
Dumb
people
Zone.
do that.
That's right.